Hi, I'd like to pick up Donterecords Entertainment, an amazing, amazing program. Thank you so much.
Run. Ready?
Yeah, man, run.
Good evening.
Hi,
How are you, Cheryl?
I'm fine, thank you.
We're here with Donterecords Enchanta's sound system. Myself, Major from Nattyrootsitaljuice. And we're here with Miss Cheryl. All right. I'm going to give a short introduction to who Cheryl is before she does her own introduction. Cheryl is one of the organizers of Leicester West Indian Caribbean Carnival. And as you know, the carnival experience is a very unique one. And we as spectators or people that go to enjoy the carnival don't really have a clue what it entails to put on a carnival. So Cheryl is going to introduce herself and tell us a bit about the carnival before we start asking a few questions. Cheryl, you're welcome.
Hi,
Thank you very much for accepting us in your lovely home, Cheryl.
It's welcome, thank you so much. So my name's Cheryl Armatrading.
Cheryl Armatrading.
Yeah, and I am operations manager for the Carnival, Leicester Carnival. I work alongside Juliet Braid and Dennis Christopher. Juliet is the coordinator.
Yes.
And Dennis Christopher is the chair.
Is the chair, okay.
Yeah.
Can you please give us a little bit of background about what Carnival is about?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? Okay, so people don't realise the amount of work and the preparation in reference to putting a carnival together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like an event, but there's a lot more involved. So basically, I know people are saying, why can't we be free at the carnival, etc. But what they don't understand is when Leicester Carnival started, it was a small community carnival.
Okay.
But now it's become a commercial because of the amount of people that actually attends.
It's quite huge.
It's quite a huge carnival. You can get up to 100,000 people that come to Leicester. 20 plus that at some point on the park, Victoria Park. So as it's grown and it's now recognised as a commercial entity, there's various legislations that come with that responsibility.
We'll get to the part in a bit. Don't expose the part yet. We'll get to the intricacies of what it takes from the planners to bring about the event. So just give us a short history about Carnival. This is a short one.
Okay,
history.
So Carnival, Carnival is more than just about dancing. It's more than just about people coming together. It was a way of how we communicated in the Caribbean and other parts of Africa as slaves. So when they brought us from Africa to various parts of the Caribbean, they ensured that if you spoke the same language, you weren't allowed to talk to each other.
Okay.
They ensured that you didn't speak the same language and you were forced not to speak whatever language you had to speak, so you spoke broken English. And that was because they were scared that you'd come together and force some sort of revolution.
So the original tonal language was dissipated,
yeah,
to make sure that there's no coercion,
yeah,
within the reasoning of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they had one day out of the year where they can come together and celebrate. And it was a form of art form that they told their stories, how they were treated, how they celebrated each other. They used to do the mockajumbies and the masquerades and they danced and they told their stories. So it wasn't such on a big scale, it was small groups of people on the same plantation coming together, doing a format of expression through the arts.
Okay.
As Black, we are very extravagant and flamboyant in the way that we express. We laugh loud.
Indeed, as Black people, it's
it's
obvious. It cannot be denied.
No, and we don't hold it in. We're very expressive people. So doing that through art forms, and we're the top in any form of art forms, whether it's singing, music, drumming, instruments, whatever it is, right? And we tell our stories. People retain information through music.
Yes.
Throughout the world, they use music for various aspects. They use music to send out informations, to hide signals for wars, etc. But you can feel it's a vibration, and we're very sort of vibrant people. We carry frequencies. So music engages within our body, and we react to it through the frequencies.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, and where music is a form of expression, we can communicate. It's a universal language.
It is.
You don't need to speak the same language to express and understand music.
Okay. Now, how long have you been part of the Leicester Carnival organizers?
Oh my gosh, years. So.
And how did you get to become to join the organizing committee?
So I started off, I think, do you know, I don't even know remember how I met Juliet, but I started off wanting to go and help with Juliet, who's the coordinator behind organising the event. And I used to volunteer.
Okay.
I used to help out on the day and building up to the day, volunteering, organising it together. But it's only the past few years that I became more involved, and especially this year. And that is because of the changes that's involved in how we are able legally to carry out the event.
Okay.
And my background is health and safety.
See.
So I have an IOSHA qualification around risk assessments. So initially I'd help do risk assessments, show people how to do them. But then this year I was called in to help, and then it became, we need to do an event management plan. Now there's a lot involved in the event management plan, which I will come to.
Yes, we'll get to that, because that's very interesting. All right. Can you please tell us the amount of time that is needed to prepare for a carnival?
First of all, you need a team, an administrative team to be able to do that.
Okay.
But as the carnival is small and it doesn't have that, it's almost like 24 hours round the clock to organise. Leicester Caribbean Carnival only has one staff member, and that's Juliet. Right? So her herself can't do. So we it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's a 9-to-5 job plus the extra hours that you put in. So the hours are countless what we put in to make it happen, especially nearer the time.
And it looks like it would take a whole lot of dedication from individuals to bring this about. All right. The whole purpose of this interview is to give the viewing public an idea about what it really takes to organize an event as a carnival. Because it can easily be seen as, you might have a large team of people, and you might have a nice flamboyant office where you sit and you just delegate people to do this, that, and then on the day, everybody buys ticket, the place is full, more than 20,000 people, there's music, there's food selling, and I think that there's more that goes into it. But have you got a large team, or you have a very small team?
No.
Because from my personal conversation with you, I was shocked to find out that it's actually 2 women, which you're one of, to be running this thing. Yeah. So how hard has it been for you to manage the manifestation of this carnival, which is a small team?
It's very challenging.
But how do you manage to let it happen? That's what...
It's through the commitment.
Give us the secret. Give us the secret, Cheryl.
It's commitment, it's dedication. It's a matter of, if we don't do what we have to do, the carnival's not happening. Yeah? So we don't want to be the ones to let down the community. And plus, after COVID, the biggest thing is Leicester Carnival.
Yes.
Right? And it's about bringing us all together. So it's endless times of commitment and dedication. You have to be committed to be able to do this. So in order for it to happen, there are teams of people that need to come together. So we had to get external teams. And you have to get a license, first of all. Within that license, there's specified things that you have to do and requirements in order to get that license. You have to meet with all the agencies, emergency agencies. So you have a round meeting, tabletop meeting, and within that is the fire, chief of the fire, there's the police, there's the local authority, there's health and safety, there's food safety, there's health and safety management, so it's quite a scale. And there's a timeline. So for example, you can go into a meeting and there's required points that you have to have in order to have the license. So if the meeting, you discuss what's required, and then you put scenarios around how you're going to meet this requirement. So you can go into a meeting and then the police or the emergencies department from the fire brigade or the traffic department will say, okay, within your plan, we need X, Y, and Z. And that has to be fulfilled because that plan is part of your license.
Okay.
So
are you giving scenarios? Are you giving conflicting scenarios to see how you'll be able to?
No, that's at the end of the round top table. Okay. So, for example, within the plan, the event management plan, you've got a risk assessment for the park. You've got a risk assessment for the parade. You've got a risk assessment in case something happens, right? For each department, you have to have a risk assessment. So that's laid out. On the parade, it's what is the risk around the route? Traffic needs to get involved. They have to then look at how the road will work, how the lorries will pass without causing any sort of harm.
Okay.
They have to take into consideration the public. So the police have a duty of care to the public. The duty of care and responsibility about the event belongs to the Caribbean Carnival. They are responsible, it's their event. So whoever organises the event, so in order for the responsibility you have to ensure that everything is in place. So traffic, they look after that, the traffic, to make sure that the roads are closed off, things are safe, the public is safe. The police look after the public to ensure that they're safe. Then we have to bring in security to ensure that that is carried out. So there's quite a lot behind it.
The amount of work is enormous. But guess what? You've been doing it.
Yeah.
And you're still doing it.
Yeah, but guess the management plan was 156 pages.
156 pages?
Yeah. I managed to reduce it to 132. So you have to go through every aspect, every scenario that could happen. You have to have first aid team, an ambulance team. Right, so the key teams are for health and safety, which is the police, the fire brigade, the ambulance, the services. You have to plan, if there's an incident, where would the helicopter be? The police and the traffic, they all work around that, right? On the day of the event, if anything happened, you have to have someone in control, which is the chairperson in the control office, to make a decision whether or not you're going to cancel the carnival, because you are liable, right?
That's a question now. We're not going to get to that question yet. But let me ask you, do you have an allocated budget? Do you have sponsors? And how does it work?
Okay, so in reality, you would have an allocated budget. The sponsors, even if they have sponsors, they're small sponsors, are not elaborative enough to say they can cover the whole. So the carnival is given £60,000 by the local authority. Yeah, and the carnival itself costs over £100,000 to put on.
I presume it would be more than £100,000.
Yeah, that's correct. So the £60,000 doesn't all come in our hands. So for this year, what happens is security. Now, security can be well over £30,000 because you have to have a lot of people, security, and they have to be qualified, they have to be SIA badge. Then traffic. Right, then the license. I think the license is roughly about £8,000. So that £60,000 is swallowed up before it gets into the pocket of the actual carnival. So what they're reliant on is the venue, the vendors that comes in. So the revenue that comes in from that and the ticket. The vendors pay their money up front in order for the carnival committee to be able to spend the money that they need to enable the carnival to open. So for example, right, fencing, that may be £14,000. The person that is responsible for the fencing may say, I want a deposit up front, or I want all up front. That money's got to come from somewhere. Then you've got not just the fencing, security, they're going to want a deposit. Then you've got your license that you've got to pay for, and that has to be paid for before the carnival, right? Then you've got your medical team, which consists of doctors, nurses, ambulance, and
the core personnel.
Scooters, motorbikes, but that's separate from the EMAS ambulances.
Okay.
So as an organisation doing an event, you have to ensure that you've got a medical team, yeah? And then...
It is important.
It is important, because if something happens, you've got to save someone's life. Then before that, you have the examining of the grounds to make sure that it's safe, no one's hiding no weapons, etc. So that Friday night, you have build from Thursday where things are coming in, but then you have the Friday, maybe the Thursday on occasions where the police will come in, traffic will come in, fencing will come in, and security, and they'll go around the park to make sure that it's safe. There's no holes in the fence. There's no one could come in and the whole point is people trying to sneak in. The important, it's not even so much about not wanting to pay, but if someone came in and they were a danger to somebody else and they had a weapon, they wouldn't have gone through the process of being searched. The whole point of being searched is not because they want to, let's just aggravate people by searching them. We have a duty of care. The duty of care is to ensure that the public is safe, people can come to the carnival and enjoy themselves. There's people can use that because it's a crowd to get a rivalry within that crowd. Sure. So they have to be searched beforehand. In order to search them, it costs money. You have to get security. We had to have amnesty bins put in to make sure if we find any weapons or drugs that they dispose of it. There was a question around water because we weren't letting people come in with so much water, and the reason is because you don't know if someone wants to do an acid attack, and then what happens. Sure. The night before we have to have you have the dog guard in the park, you have security guard in the park, because the infrastructure's there. You don't want anybody damaging the infrastructure because you'll lose your deposits and you have to pay more money, so we have to make sure it's safe. Okay. Yeah, it's all about safety and making sure, yes, people want to enjoy themselves, but because we have a duty of care, the first priority is about making people safe. For that infrastructure to be in place, it costs money.
Let me ask you this. Within the stages of planning for the carnival, what are the most difficult stages within the planning?
The most difficult stages is around to making sure that people are being safe. It's administrative work that's involved. So within that plan, what happens when we write out the management plan, it goes to multiple agencies. It will go to the fire department, the police department, it will go to licensing and the festivals department. They will then scrutinise it to make sure there's no loopholes because you've got to remember, if something goes wrong, we're liable. We're the ones that are going to go to court. Yeah. So during that meeting, they may say, okay, there's a loophole here. Can you make sure that you put something in place to ensure that that loophole is covered, right? That means I've got to drop everything because you've got a deadline. Because remember, you've got a schedule. During the process, there's a schedule within the licensing where X and Y has to be completed.
All boxes would have to be ticked.
So then if that's not done, when they give the agencies out, those agencies have to verify that it's okay before you get your license. So with Juliet, she looks after the vendors, right, and the troops. Not only because she's coordinator, she oversees everything. However, people have to ensure that they bring in their health and safety licenses, their insurances, etc. She has to go through all of that, make a list of all the requirements, because there's 2 departments that she has to answer for within the local authority. And that is food and safety and health and safety, which is 2 different things, right? The health and safety will ensure, like, for example, the fire extinguishers, they've got the right equipment.
Or the risk assessments.
Yeah, but the vendors themselves has to make sure they've got their risk assessments, The marquee that they use is safe, so no one get injured.
True.
What would they do if the weather changed? Is it sturdy enough? Would they have to take it down? Have they got their licensing for food and health and safety? Make sure they don't poison anyone and they're using the right ingredients, etc. So Juliet collects all that information, goes through all the ingredients of the food, goes through all what they're selling, right? And she compiles a file which goes to health and safety and to food safety.
To do their checks.
And then they okay it. And then she's got to allocate the spaces where they're going to put everyone on the park to make sure that it's safe.
Yes.
Yeah? My role is to oversee to make sure that everything's in place. So that management plan, so for example, the importance of the management plan is, should an incident occur at the event, that management plan gives you instructions of what you should do. So say, for example, there was a tent on fire. That management plan would say what the process is and where the nearest exit is. And then that information, the police, all the departments will go by what that plan is.
Okay.
If that plan's not right and you're taken to court, you're liable.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. That's very interesting. So has there been any point where they've not been able to put in a carnival because someone has not been competent enough?
No, because we make sure that there's competency.
Touch wood.
Yeah.
Touch wood.
Yeah, we make sure, because that's a big liability.
So you can. So far, we've got a good understanding of what you do behind the scenes. It looks like it's very demanding and it's a very high pressure job. What would you do different if you had to do another carnival again? Would you maintain what you've got, or is this something you would want to add, or what would you do different?
I think the improvement is around staffing. It takes, like for example, it's not just the people behind the scenes, it's the agencies that we have to engage, and they all have to be employed and paid for. So we brought a company in, event company to manage. They had to have a health and safety manager, and then a health and safety officer, right? Then you've got to bring in employers. So because it's all right for someone to volunteer their time, but there's only so much they can volunteer. So we have to, and there's a lot involved. I'll give you an example. 6 o'clock in the morning, the vendors are coming in. So that means the coordinator has to be on the park before to ensure everything's in place. And the security, and what they do is there's the park is marked out and they direct them. So their staff. Then you've got to have staff to manage the ticket booth. Yeah. Then you've got not only the security, but you also need to be able to have runners just in case, so you've got a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that area is short, you've got influx of somebody else. So you have to engage different people to do different parts of it. And I think I would engage more people. So you would need people to go in, set up to the build of the infrastructure. Then you'd need people to close down the infrastructure, and you'd need people also the park. You've got to go around the park to ensure that there's no damage. Because if there's damage on the park by a car or someone digging, the carnival committee, it's Calvin Cutler is liable for that. Is responsible for that.
All right.
The people that come to clean the park, not only do they have to come in and clean the park, there's a license that they have to get that's really expensive to get rid of the rubbish, and they have to have these different skips and tips, and so there's a license. They can't just come in, pick it up and put it in a bag. There's a lot more involved.
It involves a lot of red tape bureaucracy, I'll call it. Let me ask you this.
I'd say, bureaucracy. But however, I know a lot of people don't agree with it. But also, it's about safeguarding yourself. So if we didn't have those things in place and something happened, we're left open. One, if you don't have everything in place, insurance won't pay out.
Yes.
So then you're liable. Two, it's also about the risk of an individual's life. that you're responsible. If something happens, you haven't got things in place, it's the highest risk is death.
Yes.
So if we didn't ensure that, let's say for example, we were going to build the stage ourselves because we want to save money, right? And it wasn't safe, it collapsed. So what you do is engage a professional with the stage that knows what they're doing to build that infrastructure. That's why it costs so much. So you're not really paying for the infrastructure, even though you're actually paying to keep people safe.
Safe, right through the event.
So that's why the bureaucracy comes into place, and
that makes sense.
And for, I don't know, and I don't want to accuse, but for whatever reason, when we as a community are doing anything, they seem to think or appear to think that there might be more problems. So we're over secured by security, we're over policed because somehow people don't think we're responsible enough to do our
is it because is this because black people are misunderstood or because we are not well organized? What could the problem be?
It's a little bit of both, being misunderstood. And when I say that we're not well organised, I don't mean to disregard or disrespect anyone or belittle anyone. About being organised is also about having the right infrastructure. What tends to happen is that a lot of people in Leicester, even though it's a small black community, right? Now, what you've got to look at is how many qualified within that group health and safety people are there that would be involved in the carnival, right? The group that we're in, I'm the only person that's qualified within that area, right? It's finding the professionals to make it happen, to make sure that you're following the guideline legislations and you're complying. It's all about being compliant, and as compliance safeguard yourself. So if you break down, for example, when they wanted doing construction and they're saying this amount of people have to be engaged from Leicester, and they said, okay, it's not a problem, but can we find 20% people skilled in that? So it's about finding the right skilled people. Unfortunately, a lot of our skilled people that were involved in and professionals were from outside of Leicester.
What can you do to rectify the situation? Because now, from what you said, I'm looking at the situation whereby you and Juliet are at the mantle of organizing this carnival, and you've got excellent skills that is needed. Are you mentoring someone that would be able to do your work? Or would you have to go and look for people who are competent that you can train to do it? Because if this void cannot be filled, where does that leave? Where does that leave?
You need a whole training. You need a whole training program, and that's what we need to be able to engage younger people that could be qualified and carry on that mantelpiece. If I'm not able to go in, if I wasn't able to go on Carnival Day or to be there, I don't know what would happen. They would have to go out and spend thousands of pounds engaging somebody. So
to do what you do.
To do what I do. So and it's not just, it's about our community, it's also appreciating our professional skills within their community.
Yes.
Yeah. It's about, because people don't, for whatever reason, people don't appreciate qualified people within their own community. Yeah. And that's what we need to do. We need to captivate and appreciate those talents.
Would you say this is a problem that we have in predominantly black communities, or you would say it's a problem that can be seen all across the board?
I think it's a problem that can be seen all across the board, but it's highlighted a lot in the black community. And the reason is we're a smaller community, right? Even though, for example, we might be 1% within a community, within a town or a city, and then take, for example, about when they were saying there's 1% of the community, but 99% of that 1% male was in prison.
True.
Yeah. So and those aren't the proper statistics, just an example. So within that field is how many people choose to go into your industry in order for it to be compliant. Right, so the way that life is at the moment is people are, the thing that they've got on their heads is about how do I keep a roof over my head? How do I maintain and support my family? How do I do this? And we're not looking at how we're upskilling to make people follow into that path. I think the carnival needs to be more open publicly to say what is involved to making this happen. What support do they need? We need professional people because we can't do it on our own. Yeah,
because I think young talents could be trained so that they could become professionals to keep on the work.
Yes, there is, but and a lot of people now they're not going to come without being paid. So again, the carnival needs to find some way of how it can build finances, sustain itself.
Let me ask you about, let's talk costumes, carnival costumes. Do you have in-house designers or do you procure designers to come and design things when it's ready for Leicester Carnival?
Right.
Talk us through it.
Okay, so basically, Leicester Carnival at the moment do no longer build carnival costumes. So each troupe within the carnival, they will apply for their funds or get resources from wherever, and they will they'll go to a designer and have their costumes made.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a troupe in 2015, and this year we did a tribute to a gentleman called Lincoln. Now Lincoln passed away unfortunately during the COVID period, and our costume was 8 foot by 8 foot, a big blue and white costume that we did in honour of his memory. So what we did was we applied for funding, and then we engaged a designer that designed the costume for us and built it, but the troupe members helped build the smaller costume, the floor costumes. Yeah, so they're very expensive. I mean, that costume cost us £5,000.
Okay.
They're not cheap. Yeah, the materials, because remember you got the feathers. Some of the feathers come from abroad, like from Trinidad and Tobago. And
I know a lot goes into the costume.
there's a lot of detail that goes into it. The young people spend hours, and not only do you have to make your costume, but every time you go out, you have to repair it. So you have to have enough material or go out to buy more material to repair it, especially if you're going on a tour to different carnivals.
Okay. That's very interesting. So the people that do the parade, do you recruit them? Do they volunteer? Or are these people who have been part of the carnival for years, so year on year, or they come in to display their skills? Yeah,
they come in and display their skills. So people know that Leicester Carnival is happening through promotion, etc., and they register. So they initially, before Carnival, they'll show an interest by completing a form, sending the form in. The form will have what the theme is, what costumes they're having, their troupe, how many troupe members, etc., and they will describe their costume.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's open to anyone. So basically, the visiting troops that come in, if we need visiting troops that come in, we'll supply them with their lorry and the generator, because that's the other thing that they have to supply. It's not just about the costumes, the generators for the music on the lorry.
Okay.
You have to have then pay for the DJ that's doing the music on the lorry. And then you have to supply them, you've got duty of care against it, supplying the troop with water and making sure that they're okay and safe. Then you've got to pay for, maybe if they come from out of town, you've got to feed them. So there's a lot involved.
It's all involved in the logistics.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk sound system. For the first time, people realized that Abishanti wasn't going to play at Leicester Carnival. A few people wasn't sure how it was going to go with regards to sound system running.
Yeah.
All right. But I was at Leicester Carnival. You had a lovely sound system down there. What made you make the decision not to have Abishanti? But also, can you tell us if you're happy with the decision you took this year?
Okay, so yeah, there was going to be controversy around, you know, if we didn't have Abishanti,
Yes.
how would people respond, etc. And the group who we were going to bring in, and would they live up to the standard of Abishanti? But you know what? The crowds that was there was amazing.
Very.
The music was amazing. And Jatobi did a brilliant job.
He was phenomenal, yes.
He was. He did a brilliant job. I mean, I'm not skilled to comparison because I'm not really into all of that music, right? But I'd say it was a good thing having him there. It was, and I'm not saying not to bring Abishanti there. I'm not saying that at all. But it filled a void.
Yes.
It filled a void, and people enjoyed themselves. And it was change. It was a new sound system, a new vibe.
I'm so tired.
Yes, Cheryl. Of course, Cheryl.
Oh, heaven.
Yes.
That service.
I'm still a poor for you, but I'm not cut yet. Yes, I'm not doing that yet.
A new feeling, and people enjoyed themselves. They loved it.
So, because I'm looking at it from the point of view of a visiting spectator that would come to the carnival, or even a stall holder. I really enjoyed the day. Would you say that it's easier to have different sound systems than to maintain a particular sound system, to be a resident DJ at the carnival? Would it be easier to maintain a resident DJ, or would it be easier to have rotating DJs year in, year out?
Okay, so it's in resident DJ, it's easier to have a resident DJ because people are used to it. And it's very difficult initially for people to get change, because people, once they're in their comfort zone, that's what they want. And they don't want anything else but that.
Don't disrupt this.
Don't disrupt it, that's right. But I think you slowly have to feed people in to, and it's also about giving other people opportunities.
Yes.
As well, and bringing new vibes to the carnival. So it's not mundane. It's exciting, but yeah, people are very comfortable in their zone. So it's almost like every Sunday you eat rice and peas, and then you come in and you decide, oh, when I'm rice, I'm going to mashed potato.
I'll show you a balance a bit.
yeah. So it's like, hang on a minute, I'm going to my grandmother, and I'm going to get my rice and peas, my chicken, my mutton, and everything. And I come there one day, and I heard Granny's not cooking today. So the only thing there's mashed potato. We're not quite sure how that's going to taste. Even though Granny's mashed potato is different, it's got cheese.
Yes.
It's lovely. But
all the nice herbs, yeah. But still something missing.
There's some ingredients missing, right? So how are we going to take that? How many of the members of the family are going to eat that?
True.
Right. So there's always a doubt, because as human beings, we're like our comfort zones. We get used. It takes a lot for us to accept change. Yeah. So, but they welcome this change.
It did plan out. It did plan out to be a very good decision. I wouldn't say a good decision to spite ABBA, but I mean a good decision in that you brought in a whole different sound system. I gave them the platform to let them play music and let people enjoy themselves. All right, Cheryl, we know you do other stuff. Would you please tell us? I know you've got a charity going on, but under the name of your son. Can you please tell us a bit about that?
Okay, so my charity is called Anton Akpom Achievements Foundation.
Okay.
And it is in memory of my son Anton Akpom. And it was to carry on his legacy and the works that he started as a young man. So a young man at 18, he set up his own business to help young people aspire. And his slogan is challenging behaviours and changing lives.
Challenging behaviours and changing lives. That's nice.
Right. And it was about giving people that confidence. So he used to do that through dance and sports. And also encouragement, have conversations with people, encourage them to go for what they want and help them to overcome their challenges. So what we did was to take his business and make it into a charity. And what we do a lot around crime prevention, intervention programs, but skills development, but it's also about empowering. We do several events a year, which includes, this year, we actually took, I think, 20 young people to Parliament, and they had the opportunity to see what it's like, for and against, how to argue, how the Speaker, the House of Lords, versus House of Commons, and how it worked. And the viewpoint was to get people to think differently out of their box. Why can't I be an MP, a councillor? Why can't I be a member of Parliament? Why can't I aspire to make change? Because you have to be there to make change. And it was a beautiful thing. And then we also did an art exhibition where we got young people's artwork and had it in a marquee in town so people can see what the gifts are and talents for young people. We do a homeless campaign, winter campaign, where we collect items and clothing and we make Christmas boxes and we give it out to the homeless people. But our biggest thing is our award event, where the community nominates somebody or puts someone forward to say, we appreciate you, where we see what you're doing. So for young under 16s, it's an achievement award, Future Star. And then we've got community contributions for a young person that makes a difference in the community, that's had an impact on someone's life or made a change. We've got lifelong for those that are over 25 or mature age, that have spent their whole life helping humanity or helping somebody within their community. We've got education awards. It's not just about achieving the award, but it's how you've looked over and overcome all adversities, challenges, and you still have achieved. Sports, because Anton was into sports, and especially football, performing arts, but it's not basic. It's about how they use these different categories to fight their challenges, and through all adversity has overcome them, and then the community showing and demonstrating their appreciation. And we do a 3-course meal, an award event, entertainer. So as well as having a professional entertainer, we get local talent in, again giving a platform to show this is what we are, this is what we do.
Let me ask you, with the awards, does the award happen every year, every 2 years, every 6 months?
Every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
So are you going to be having an award this year?
I am the 26th of November.
And the 26th of November.
In Leicester.
Where in Leicester?
Abbey Sports Centre. And the tickets are limited this year. We've got a smaller venue. They're £35, which includes a meal.
We're gonna put the award tickets in the link for this video. So if you're interested, you should be able to grab yourself a ticket and come and see these awards in Leicester.
But it's more about showing appreciation to those young people. Do you know, some people don't get an opportunity to dress up because they're dressed in full gown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't get an opportunity to dress up, sit down, and meet celebrities as well, because we invite certain celebrities to come in and just share their experiences. It's a nice feeling. You have a 3-course meal, you dress up, you're entertained. A lot of young people don't get that opportunity.
No, they don't. And let me. You did mention about taking a few kids, a few children, to the House of Parliament. Was that part of the initiative of a charity or something different?
No, it was a charity.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically there was a programme on that. We had a discussion. So during lockdown, we used to have lots of community conversations. And during those community conversations, we found out what people want. And we were talking about, they were talking about how do we make change. And I said, if you want to make change, you have to be involved in politics.
True.
Yeah. So we invited, there's a programme that they did at Parliament Education Department, and we invited them, they came in and they did an online one, and they said, the young people said, we would like to go to Parliament. So that's what we did. We took them to Parliament. It was such an amazing day. It really was. And you can see the change in them. You can see, it's about giving people opportunities.
Let me ask you something, Cheryl. Do you think black people have got the opportunities that they need to thrive? or you think we are far from the opportunities that we need to try?
Okay, so first of all, it's not highlighted enough about the achievements of black people. There's more achievers that we know than there are underachievers.
But why don't we celebrate? Why don't we celebrate them?
We don't celebrate it. We don't celebrate them. We don't celebrate enough because life takes over. Life takes over, and it's not just about that as well. Some people are scared that if I bring you in, I've fought so hard for this, I don't want to be pulled down. Yeah, but I remember going to Brixton at this enterprise, young enterprise. There were so many affluent, young black people. I felt so proud
to be in that
environment, because all we see in the media, the majority, is the negativity.
Yes.
We don't see how they're achieving. And the other thing as well, what we've got to remember is that a lot of our young people don't want to work. I don't mean that in a negative way. They want to have a business. They want to be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yeah. They don't want to be grounded down a 9 to 5. And there's so many opportunities now, especially with the internet, that you can make business in finance in different areas, and they feel they've got full control of what they're doing.
True.
So a lot, and also don't take it for granted because you see a young person on the street, maybe to your eyes not working, but they're making their money. They're in their own home bedroom, doing their studio, selling their music online. They're writing their poetry, they're writing their book, they're training. They're very intellectual people, but what they don't like is to be oppressed. So if they feel they're in a situation of oppression, they find a way out. And that's, which is like, it's almost like, look what happened with COVID, right? It's the fittest of the survival and the fittest. Yeah. All of a sudden our lives was changed. We're locked down. Life's changed now because people choose not to go back out to work. They choose to work from home and make up their own little businesses.
That's exactly what's
happening. And that life is going to evolve. And I've got a strong thing about education, and I really do think that we are training our children to fail. And the reason why I'm saying that is not to be negative, but if you look at how we're evolving, look at what we need to do is look at the legislations, look at the changes governments are bringing, look at the strategies that government has. And so you've got the carbon footprint, 2050. People have got a deadline, legislations comes in and change, right? So you know that if that's going to happen, then you need to get qualification in environmental science. You need to understand fabrics that are environmental friendly. You need to change your construction training to environmental friendly fabrics and materials.
Manufacturer would have to change to accommodate that.
Artificial intelligence is a big thing. Other countries, Dubai, etc., they're training their children because that's what's going to happen.
Cybernetics, yes.
If you know that that's going to change and it's going to be robotics, then you learn how to maintain. If you can't do programming, you learn how to maintain. Because yes, they're going to get rid of cashiers, etc., and use machines, but someone's got to maintain those machines. So why are we not training our children for what's going to come in the future? Why are you training your children? And I'm not talking about people individually, I'm talking about the system. Why are you training your children, right, to do something in school that's not going to be no good even in 5 years' time? So then they're going to be redundant. And then I'll tell you what it creates. You make your people redundant. You have to bring in other people that are qualified from abroad. That creates animosity, it creates prejudice, and all sorts of issues are created around that. The carnival is a business. So we need to be able to prepare and train our children, our young people, to create the business element of it, right? How you make your money, how you manage your money, how do you prepare, get your skills in health and safety and other qualification that's required. Be inspectors around health and safety and food, understand food scientists and how it works. So all of that is believe it or not, that's part of the carnival because you have to do those inspections.
So what you're saying, there's opportunity for young people that they can learn different skills along the way, whereby they can solidify their own selves in their own businesses that can help other big events to materialize their events.
So you've got designing, making the costumes, those that have learned from the designers, or repair costumes, because maybe it's not that people can't do it, they don't have the time.
True.
So what you do is you look for the niche area and the loophole and see where can I fit in.
Well, Cheryl, you've done amazing. The whole purpose of this interview is to showcase and highlight behind the scenes the people that govern the Leicester Carnival, which you're one of the organizers. Initially, I was thinking that you had a very huge team and loads of people to work with, but I've come to realize that it's a very small, tiny. These two women, we're talking, when you come, anybody, listen viewers, when you go to Leicester Carnival and you're enjoying yourself and you can see 20,000 people, understand that it's two women, make that happen. A two somebody make that happen. You see me I said?
Sleepless nights.
So we're very happy and we're very grateful to come visit Cheryl today, and she's given us a lovely interview. So now viewers, you can understand what it entails to do a carnival. You can understand what it entails to do a carnival. We are blessed to have our sister who's dedicated her skills and her effort to make the carnival happen. Cheryl, thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
We love you.
Thank you.
Blessed love.
Thank you.
Heal up Enchanta, heal up Dante, Major Medea, nattyrootsitaljuice, arrangement records, enchanta sound, and Cheryl Armatrading. Blessed love.
Thank you.
Blessed.
Iris.
Hi, I'd like to pick up Donterecords Entertainment, an amazing program. Thank you so much.
Yeah man, blessed love it. Don't know. Big up Dante Records Entertainment. Check him up on YouTube, Natty Major. Boom.
Yeah. Big up Dante Record Entertainment, YouTube. Enchanta, so that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.